What's going on, guys? We got Thiago Travella
Yeah.
in the house with the podcast today, Rainmakers podcast. Thiago, welcome.
Thank you.
Thiago lives in Utah, but almost lives in
Hawaii.
Yep. At the same time. He's blitzing, doing. He's got a big team out there. He's got a team going in California.
Yep.
38 years old. When did you make that the $1 million?
2022.
Let's go. And
Yeah.
you've been in solar since 2018.
18.
Okay. And he's got a family. He's married, 3 kids, 3 boys as well.
3 boys.
Just like me.
Just like you.
Love it, bro. And you're talking about expanding to Illinois, you said?
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. Well, guys, what I love about Thiago, I can tell he's a good guy. We met through a mutual friend that works at our company, Landon. Mm-hmm. And so you're from Brazil.
Yes.
Okay. So we were talking about this. I served in Brazil. You were asking. So I was in São Paulo for a couple months. This was back in 2012. And then I was there in Rio de Janeiro till 2014.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Rio was nice. I like Rio.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Crazy place. But you've been in the U.S. for how long?
I want to say 2001. So a long time. 24 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
I was going to say your English is perfect. So
no, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, dude, let's jump into it. So let's talk about you're working with Sunrun. Tell me about your gig you got going on and what the numbers are, your team, and what the growth is looking like.
Gig is just the same. It's just grind, show up, deal with problems, create more opportunity as problems come, because they'll always come no matter what.
Yeah.
Be genuine with your guys. They need something, show up for them. Listen to what they have to say, keep that culture of positivity just rolling,
Love that.
Yeah.
What's been here? One second. Let me fix this guy.
Okay.
What's been something that you've accomplished in the last year or two that you're proud of?
Just starting an office and helping an installer from scratch. Literally, they had nothing, not even an app. They don't have design.
Was this in Hawaii?
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
From the ground up.
And this was back in when?
2023.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, September 2023.
It's pretty recent.
Yes.
Love that. That's about when we started.
Oh, nice.
And then how many reps did you have back then?
Back then, I want to say in total 80 something.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of scaled back a little bit on bodies.
Yes.
And then we were just talking about this, like it's not just about bodies, it's about results.
Yep.
How's that been for you?
10 out of 10.
Yeah. Just less to babysit.
Yeah. No babysit, and just, let's say I had to hang out with somebody. I can hang out with any of my reps. It's like good people, good mindsets. They sacrifice a lot for, their own missions and goals, and we share that in common.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to your $1 million. That was back when?
2022.
Okay. How'd you do it?
It was a lot of years of wanting to do it and just falling short, to be honest. It was just like a lot of years. So started 2019, just kept, like I said, falling short, etc. And then in 2022, we had Slayers. Like I was talking to you about your company name, Sparta, yeah. Sparta, yeah. I love like the mentality of the Spartans. Just like, hey, we're this group, but we're mighty. So back then we had maybe 14, 20 in my dealer, but they were like Slayers.
Yeah.
And you might know some of them. Then my buddy Quade Foster, he had a bunch of lead reps, so it was the same as opportunity meets preparation and the Spartan group. So when we plugged in together, it was just, the perfect marriage.
Love that, dude.
Yeah.
So in that year that you made $1 million, what was some of the big things that allowed you to achieve that?
One was, support from my wife. The way I see it is just more of a, if your wife's not supporting, you get a new one. Straight up. Because I feel like for a man, you need to be respected and go after your goals.
Yeah.
If your wife is being an anchor, hey, get a new anchor.
Yeah.
Like you need something to support. So I wouldn't be able to do it without my wife and family support.
That's huge.
Then second one is just no excuses. Like if something happens, you just got to be like, hey, it's my fault.
Yep.
I'll figure it out. So it's just a rewiring process. So that the whole time that I failed to get to my goal of $1 million, I took lessons in, just slowly rewiring my brain, getting new habits. The biggest game changer was reading 52 books, and I got
Mm.
that from Mendes.
Yeah, from Jeff Menes.
Yes, I was just like, hey, he can read 52 books. I'm gonna do it
Let's go.
because anybody can say they can do it until you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And I just remember going on trips and listening to books just to make sure I hit my 52.
What were some of the key books that like stood out to you that
Oof.
actually moved the needle?
For sure, the OG ones, Think and Grow Rich,
Yes.
just relearning the 13, principles and making a part of your life,
Mm-hmm.
not just reading about it.
But studying and applying it.
Correct.
Yeah, I always
But
talk about it.
embodying it.
Dude, there are so many principles in that book that people don't apply. They read it, and this is with any book. Like they'll study something and then leave so many things on the table. You know Alex Hormozy, right?
Mm-mm.
He's a big entrepreneur. He talks about how he'd rather have you read 5 books in a year or just like 5 books. And this is not me bagging on the 52. I think that's amazing. But so many people will not actually apply what they read. Like one part of Think and Grow Rich is simply him talking about how to set goals. He's like, define what you want and then set a date with it, which most people do. But then understand, like he talks about like what value specifically are you going to give to other people to make that money.
Yep.
You know, for me in solar, when I was doing 200,000 a month, that value was, hey, I need to save people a collective, what was it, $2 million to make my $200,000, and it was $2 million over 30 years, based
Wow.
on utility escalation and what they would be paying with the utility cost versus what the solar costed. And so we get paid in proportion to how much value we bring. And this is the cool thing with solar is like, there's nothing wrong with us flexing how much money we've made, because to make that money, we've brought people so much value.
Yeah, or try to go make it. Go ahead. I
Yeah.
want to see it.
Yeah, go do it. Good luck.
Good luck. But I do agree with you on the book part.
Yeah.
Because I had the same thing going into it, and even doing it, and even now, like just sitting there, like 52 books is a lot of information.
It is.
But
It's a book a week.
Yeah, it's a book a week. But what do you get out of it? I feel like we have a superpower or a subconscious. It absorbs a lot more than we think.
Mm.
So I feel like a lot of these books that I read, it complemented the ones that I really cared about.
Yeah.
And if you want to get a hell of a story, I got kidnapped that year in Brazil.
Shut up.
And reading those books, and the book that I was reading at the time was Fortitude.
Mm.
And to be honest with you, it was a huge book to be reading at the time and overcoming that experience.
That's wild. That was in 23?
22.
22.
After my biggest year, I got kidnapped.
Isn't that crazy, dude? How that stuff works? That's nuts.
Yeah.
I look back at so many of the adversities I've had, like, and my perspective on everything is always changing. It's always changed. I'm now grateful for all the hardship, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. Because it's that stuff that makes us, that gives us the caliber to sell and lead at a higher level. Yeah, if you let it.
100%.
Tell me about the kidnap a little bit if you're down to talk about it.
It was, honestly, I was unfazed, completely unfazed. We're talking, I did not care. Basically, from the very beginning, and the way I see God is, I mean, very different than most people, I would say. But basically, when they got me, it was just like, hey, I'm just messing with you real quick. Mm. Basically, that voice, right? Like the God voice is saying, I'm just going to mess with you real quick. So to me, it was more of a test of, did I believe who I believe to be, sort of thing. So when I sat there, instead of, oh, what if this happens? No, I just sat there in gratitude. I was just so grateful for the life that I was given. I was grateful for my family, for the travel, for the experiences. So my mind was elsewhere. And I focused on the things I could control. And it turned out to be just like that. It was, got rescued. Life was good. The same day I went out to eat somewhere and continue my life normal. Because I'll never let somebody else take my peace away.
Yeah, it's always a choice. We always have that control, no matter what's going on in our life. Like, this is one thing I've learned from Tony Robbins was, we don't live life, like we live the life that we focus on. What we focus on is purely our choice.
Yes, I agree 100%.
You could have an external hell but be an internal heaven based on what we focus on. And that is the power of gratitude, is focusing on what you have versus what we don't. And what I've learned is the mind naturally gravitates towards negative things. It's how we're wired. Like, we've got to stay alive. We got to eat, you know. but you can program. We're hardwired a certain way, but we can program our mind to find the positive. And I think this is a
Yes.
beauty about sales, bro, is that we, like, as salespeople, you have to train your brain to find the good in amongst so much adversity, so much failure, so much rejection, right? Like there's 95% rejection even for the top guys. And so like you learn to program your mind to find the good,
Yeah.
you know?
That's how it has been. It forces you to get better.
Yeah,
It's like, don't wish it was easier. Wish you
you
were
were
better.
better. Yeah.
My friend says that. Benji Fielding. It's a great guy.
That's awesome. Such a
Yes.
good quote, dude.
Yeah.
So let's talk about leadership. Like you've done really well going from like selling to leading. What has been a big pivotal change for you going like making that transition? Because I know a lot of guys struggle, and I did too. Like when we built Sparta, I had a lot of setbacks and failures before we started blowing up.
Same. I would say the number one thing is don't focus on numbers as much. Like, don't focus on money
Yeah,
because, or like a false idea. I feel like in this industry, there's that false idea of like, oh, if I'm going to be a regional and just sit back and uh, sip on a drink on the beach and everybody's going to
no,
be hustling, working for me. It does work at a certain extent once you've paid X amount of price and you have
yeah,
X amount of influence, etc.
yeah,
But in the industry in general, especially in solar, where it's like a high profit uh, sale, you have a lot of divas. So to manage divas is very difficult. It's extremely difficult because you're not managing a guy that's making 30K. You're managing a guy that's making half a million.
I
So
love you call them divas.
so it's besides the money in any case, but it's more of a, hey, do they feel and do they know you have their best interest
Yeah,
and you care about what they care about.
yeah. What I've learned, this has been a pivotal change for me. I made a huge turnaround last year, and it started with adversity and setbacks and failure and loss for me. And then there's learning and growth from certain mentorship. Tony Robbins was pivotal for me. I remember going to his event and I walked away with two major shifts, and it was gratitude and giving. And he said the secret to building wealth is gratitude and giving. And gratitude is that focus, like what am I focusing on? And then the giving is how can I help other people get what they want? And the more that a salesperson or a recruiter or a leader focuses on how can I help get you your goal,
Yep.
and to the degree that they can completely detach from like all outcomes, all expectations of trying to convince you to come work with me or sell with me or get what I want, and fully help them get what they want, what happens is both parties end up getting what they want, and you'll make a lot more money. And what I've realized, bro, is as for high level leadership, it goes beyond just sales success. Like at Sparta, we're focused on self development, and that's the personal success, and then the professional success. And the more I lean into this personal, like especially the bigger we get, I have less and less people fighting it and resisting it. Like, oh, fit club, or oh, book club, or oh, investor club. Like now people are really bought in. And what I see is as they level up in those areas, um, the sales tend to rise as well. And there's stickiness, there's better retention. And I don't do this to become more profitable or grow faster. I do it because it's the right thing.
Yep.
And what's cool, I've learned this just as a byproduct of like, I could give two shits about the business. I got to that point and I just like, how can I help you? And part of it was like, if I met somebody, I'm like, hey, this is not going to be a good fit. I'll let like go. It's okay. And so I've been more restrictive with who enters the gate for our company. And as you pour into people, sometimes it's physically, like sometimes a guy needs help with his physical health. Sometimes it's a relationship. Sometimes it's an addiction. And I recognize in myself that I didn't have the bandwidth to like deal with people's shit because I had shit on my own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's why the self-care, the self-work, the self-development for leadership is so critical, because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Selling, leading is pouring into people. And so as I held space for myself, healed from, I had a pornography addiction. As I did the inner work there, I was able to hold a lot more space for these other guys. And so they could dump on me and I could receive it and actually help them get what they want.
Yeah. And there's a quote that I like. It's like, I helped a man climb a mountain, and then I realized we're both at the top.
Yes, that's so good.
So it's and also the way I see the stuff you're talking about there is there's an infinite game and a finite game.
Mm.
Meaning, what's the infinite game of that? Is giving.
Yes.
That's infinite. It
Yeah.
never ends. Like you're giving
It
your
never
time,
does.
your resources, your mental fortitude. You're becoming better in return. You're both getting to the top.
Yeah.
So the finite games is just like, hey, a summer I want to make X money. Is it about the money? The infinite game is more like, hey, what am I providing for my family, for myself? What man did I become at the end of the summer?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
The finite's like, how much money did I make? I think if you can obsess and get your people to obsess on like who are you becoming rather than what did you achieve, you end up achieving a lot more. Like for
Yep.
example, it's like, hey, I want to make $500,000 this year in solar, right? Or whatever the sales rep's goal is. Well, who do you have to become in order to achieve that, right? What's the discipline look like? What's the work ethic? How much are you studying and practicing, right? How much do you understand your industry and how much value are you able to communicate to a prospect, you know? And so when you can shift your mindset from the achievement to uh, the person that you have to become in order to have that achievement, the achievement comes a lot bigger, a lot faster, is what I've noticed.
Yeah. And also the whole rewiring your brain, right? Let's say when I was a guy making 30K in a summer, any any problem was a big problem.
Yeah.
Now, let's, I guess, even comparing to religious texts, you look at all these prophets, what were they dealing with? Problems
Yeah.
all the time, like relentless, like it never stopped.
That's what it is.
So the way I see it,
Mm.
when I deal with problems, instead of complaining, I say, hey, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. Dude, the way I look at it with adversity and problems like that is I'm like, this is something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And it's not even like some silly positive, mantra. It's the reality because every person, every company, every market, we all have adversity. The moment somebody brings news to me about like Trump and the new, uh, that we had to put people on a W-2 pay plan now, right, versus 1099, and there's all these concerns and fears that arose with it, and like, oh crap, what are we going to do? How are we going to maintain our profit? And I'm like, dude, hold on, let's just take a moment to celebrate that this is going to weed out a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah.
And to the degree that we can learn from this and execute and roll with those punches, it will give us another edge that we're looking for over the competitors. And so I've seen how, you know, we've taken so many different things, Thiago, from our market. You were asking me how's Utah, and I'm like, it's a terrible market. Like, but that's the beauty is like I've taken something and that is just like everybody looks at is crap. And if you put the first things first, for me, it was myself and God and my routines, my systems, my personal development, and then what am I giving and contributing and how am I doing so to help other people? When you put those things first, everything else will fall into line. And I didn't have the advantage of going out to blitz because of my kids. I was single, single dad, divorce. I had to stay out here.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, how do I make this work? That Cali money or, what you do in Hawaii is tempting. And I'm like, okay, well, it's off the table. And whether you do blitzing or whether you do in market, it doesn't necessarily matter. But what does matter is that you burn the boats and you go all in on one thing and you focus all your energy and time into one thing. And not just the job, but developing yourself, you know?
Mhm.
And the way I say, I don't know if you'd agree with this. I'm just kind of jumping around here, but I see there being three different categories of how you can pour your time. There's time in the business, which is selling. There's time on the business, which is duplicating your success through recruiting, building SOPs, frameworks to buy back your time and delegate to other people. And then there's time working on yourself. And the way I see it is like, okay, if you want to make your 500, even $1 million working in the business, you need a lot of time. If you want to make, well over 500 to like closer to a million and plus, you do need more time on the business because you need people, right?
Mhm.
Whether setters, closers, managers. And then if you want to scale even past those numbers, you have to have the work on self. Like you have to be so adept. And the game is not just recruiting people, but it's attracting them and retaining them. And let's say I'm really good at persuading. Like let's say I win over somebody like we talking, I end up winning you to come work for Sparta. But if I'm not the caliber of a guy that I could attract you, but to retain somebody, you have to truly be amazing.
Yep.
Right? You can't just attract somebody through great persuasion, keep them in a business that doesn't perform as well, right? Especially if they're growing. So the way I see it is as a leadership team, like you have to be the guy at the head of the ship has to be out leveling up and out leading and out developing his people. Otherwise, his people have no right to stay there. Right.
I agree. And it's one of those things that going back to Jeff Mendes there, living a life by design.
Mm,
To me, balance is in balance, meaning if I set out to do something, so let's say study for 1 hour a day, I call it the power hour.
love that.
It didn't happen in the morning because whatever, I had to go check on something or my wife needed X, Y, and Z. I can do it at 9 p.m.
Mm,
I can keep it in balance. If I sleep one less hour, so what?
yeah.
I'm gonna do what I set out to do because I want to live the life that I want to live.
Yeah. There's power in that commitment, dude, and that consistency of not missing.
Yep.
Like I think if Steph Curry got his jersey here in my office, and he's the guy that doesn't miss, literally. Like I'm not talking about his shots. He's the guy that doesn't miss practice. He takes 500 practice shots every day without fail, no matter the time, no matter what's going on in his life. And that's over 3.5 million shots he's taken, practice shots, to make less than 17,000. It's less than 1%.
That's insane.
It's insane. And so people look at the 1%, they look at the success and they're like, oh, well, it's easy for him to say he's gifted, he's got the XYZ, but they don't see all the work. And it's those little decisions like that compound over time. Like I'm gonna stay up till 9 to do my study. I'm gonna put in an extra rep at the gym. I'm gonna give this gift to this prospect.
Yep.
Those little things, they add up over time.
And it's hard to even write those down, right? Like when you have a, let's say, an app called Streaks, and you hold yourself to it, and it becomes the version that you want to become versus the version that you are.
Yeah.
It's a real game, like, because you're sitting there like, man, I have a worthy competitor. The guy at the end of this goal is a badass, and I want to be that guy. And
That's
it
the
becomes
focus.
that game. That's how I do it in my head. It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, the Thiago that I want to become, I want to be able to thank the Thiago of today, the one that took all the steps to be this next version of myself.
Yeah.
So it's more inward than outward.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, bro. Dude, I'm just dying right now. A little pause on the podcast, guys. We got these window cleaners. These guys come like once every 6 months.
They came today.
They came not just today. For the 1 hour they're cleaning our windows is the 1 hour we're filming. You gotta love it. So, dude, one thing that's here. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought with that. These guys are hilarious. Here, I'm gonna do a clap real quick just for the editor. Helps them figure out where the little edit part's out. Okay, what were you just talking about there? I had a train of thought I wanted to go off of.
Like going off of competing with yourself.
Yes. Okay, dude. So on that topic of competing with yourself, I feel like, salespeople get caught up with competition. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
We have competitions, but this is a deeper thing. If you can compete with yourself, I don't think you can lose. Like you can't. If you're competing against the man or the woman that you were yesterday,
mm-hmm.
like there's always progress to be made. Even if it's 1% better, you're on an exponential curve. Meaning if you fast forward 3-5 years down the road, you're getting disproportionate success. When people are like, hey dude, how did you clear 10 million last year? Like it was all the same little things I was doing 5 years ago. The only thing that's changed now is time. And I've been doing it consistently. I don't miss. And that's what I was saying with Steph Curry is like, you got to be the person that builds the confidence from I don't miss.
Yeah. And I'm writing a book right now, FYI, but
Let's go.
it's called Shards of Divinity.
Okay.
But the principle is like crumbs. So going back to the three guys that I was like, I'm going to follow exactly what they said. Bodie Gardner,
Yes.
he said God. And they actually not pissed me off, but I was just like, religious guy, right?
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking in my head, I was like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. Go deeper into like a spiritual side of things of life and kind of explore that side. Let's put it that way. So when you're chasing something greater, whatever that is, it just gives more purpose too. So let's say that Thiago 2.0, when you see yourself in a higher image, you want to hold that bar, or you want to get to that place. And that's where that first came from, just like, hey, I need to become this guy. And if I have to push a boulder to make it happen, I will. A lot of times, just let's say on that topic of God itself, it's impossible to know what God is, etc. But when you're striving, when you're pushing for the best version of yourself, that God mode, you will become stronger by default by just pushing that, trying to move that boulder.
Yeah.
So it's not about moving the boulder and achieving, just to know what's on the other side. is more the strength and everything that you went through just to become a little bit better.
Yeah. That I feel like if people can obsess, it's one of our core values is process, not prize. So many people get lost in the prize, the money, the car, the house, the achievement. But if you can really obsess on every like every action you take is progressing you,
Hmm.
and this is the beauty of failure is it progresses you faster than any success because you learn.
Yep. And to go back to, I lost my train of thought for a sec there where I was going, but I see it more of too as crumbs on the
Mm,
road.
okay.
Like meaning, if you focus on that higher self and you're invested in your own personal progress, you're gonna find little crumbs because life, the way that I see life, is patterns. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of little patterns. You can choose to pick the crumbs or go on the road they already know. There's no more crumbs. You already went through that road. Or you can go to the one that you see a little crumb right there, and you're like, man, I've heard about this one from X guy. Should I go on this path? And then you go on that path and you just take the crumb and you take the next one and the next one.
Mm,
So the way I see that advice, just kind of going back, is more of a, when you're focused on self improvement and you really care about it. We're talking, let's say you do something that deviates from that goal, you're gonna care. You're
yeah.
gonna actually give a shiz about it.
Hmm.
So it's more meaningful. It's more fulfilling. You're able to truly rewire your brain when you're focusing on taking full accountability and following these things that, in my eyes, God is always trying to talk to you. And when I say God, I mean your own self.
Yeah.
That goal that you're trying to achieve is trying to say, "Hey, I want to make this happen. Trust me. Go to this crumb right now
Yeah.
and go through with it."
I love that, man.
Yeah.
There's something about being compelled by a bigger vision outside of you.
Yes.
You know, I remember and how much action it empowers and the energy it gives you. And I think that's whether someone calls it God, the universe, or just something is that's bigger than you, you
Yep.
know. And I think for one, it keeps the leader humble and grounded. Like nobody just wants to follow an egotistical piece of crap, you know. They want somebody that will inspire them to become better in their personal life. I say, and then become better professionally, make more money, grow in the opportunities. And when this is the going back to that, the secret to living is giving. Like the more we give, the more we get. Um, I believe that business is a spiritual game. I really do, because I mean, giving is spiritual. Serving, impacting, it's a spiritual thing. And you look at some people in history that have made tons of money, right? Like Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street, without providing value or very little value, right?
Yeah.
But it always comes back and bites them in the ass. Always does. It corrects itself, just like the market and the economy. They always correct, right? And so you can chase the success and have a short run season, or you can chase impact and serving and becoming more valuable. And you'll always be growing. You'll always be making money. And dude, I don't know about you, but I always imagine myself like I imagine 3 years from now we have over 400, 500 people in our organization, and I imagine everybody leaving. I mentally take myself there. After this last traumatic event I had this last year, I had multiple things that all hit in 1 month, on 1 week, actually, from breakup to losing hundreds of thousands of dollars to losing my top sales reps, my best friend, an executive assistant, all in 1 week.
Damn.
And it made me question a lot. Like, what am I chasing? I know it's a lot, huh?
Wow.
Just take a moment for that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's just surface level. And it made me question, what am I doing? What am I chasing? What's the point of all this? And I got pissed off. But it helped me appreciate, what really does matter, relationships, impact. And it helped me detach from like this obsession with business and growth, and it helped me attach to myself and God and a higher purpose. And dude, it's amazing how I spent less time working in my business. Like I was working from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every damn day, Thiago, every day. And I said, screw this. I'm done with this. I'm burned down my life. I saw like I was building on a sandy foundation. It's like, if I erect this higher, eventually it's going to come falling down because I have character flaws. And so I'm like, all right, let's get this foundation thing figured out. And so I said, I'm not working from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. I don't care how much my business is burning down, what's going on. I don't care. There's the boundary. I'm coming home at 6:30, 7 o'clock,
Yep.
right? 7 p.m. is like my last resort. And I channeled that time into myself, my healing, dealing with my demons. And dude, it's crazy. We went from 5 people last year to over 50 now.
That's huge.
And the shift is like my business acumen and my sales acumen has changed maybe 10%, but we've had over 500% growth.
Wow.
How do you explain that?
Just goes back to the stuff we talked about. It's like uh, something bad happens. It's like, hey, what's the opportunity?
Yeah,
You're finding the crumb. You're saying,
exactly.
what's next?
Yeah,
Instead of, hey, I should have, just being sad about something. Or let's say when you said people left. So what?
yeah,
It's to the point where the way that I function, I do not worry about things I cannot control.
yeah,
I cannot control other people.
yep,
What I can control is me. So when
100%.
I show up, I'm like, hey, if my reps see me, they're gonna see the best version of me. When I'm home, my kids are gonna see the best version of dad.
I love that.
So to me, it's just goes back to focusing on me, self growth, and like you said, if you cannot give if your cup is empty, right? So if I don't love myself, if I don't love my life, if I
Yeah,
don't love this, I cannot transfer love.
exactly. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what I've realized, dude. It is about love and how much we give, and that's selling, it's recruiting, it's leadership, it's every part of it. And so, Lane and I were talking on this last podcast about the same principle of like, how much you love yourself, how much can you love other people, and I talking about it like a spiritual thing, whether people call it God or higher power, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's God and Jesus, but that gives me a source of greater love.
Yep.
That sometimes we struggle giving it to ourselves, because we're flawed. We have weaknesses, we make mistakes. And so for me, I've drawn a lot of power from knowing I don't have to be perfect, but that I'm in a game that I can improve. And dude, the beauty for me is like, I've seen how I really believe a lot of the growth that we've had, it has nothing to do with me. All it is like, I've seen things that I've changed in my life. And the reason that the business is growing is because I need to take this change and bring it to other men and women. And I see as I'm getting in alignment with that bigger vision and get in alignment with helping other people get what they want and finding fulfillment and peace from within, no matter how much success that we have, the more it continues to perpetuate and grow and the more lives we continue to impact. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because with the stuff you just mentioned, the what I brought to you earlier, like studying religion, history,
Yeah.
I went deep. We're talking a whole year's worth plus, 17 years of like here and there. But there's one thing that I did learn after doing all these, studies is all of us, no matter who we are, we live in a false reality.
Yeah.
I live in a false reality and I know it.
Mm.
So if I'm gonna live in the reality that I created, I'm gonna make it how I want it to make.
Mm.
So goes back to what you're saying, like, hey, you're gonna invest on yourself, do X, Y, and Z. That brings you fulfillment because you're living a dream. You're living the life that you're designing. You're becoming the person that you want to become inside of that reality.
Love that.
So let's say, for example, you meet somebody and you're in a good state of mind. You're healthy. You're looking for the positive, then the negative. Positivity will follow positivity, and that's what I've learned just from these like studies. And I don't know, it was very fulfilling to invest a whole year and being like,
Yeah, that's
wow,
special.
yeah.
That's really special. What year was that for you?
Last year,
Last year?
yeah.
Like what initiated that after? So you made $1 million and then last year, 2 years later, you end up doing something like that. Why?
I've always been a very spiritual guy, I
Yeah.
would say. So in a way, we live in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So religion is gonna come up.
Yeah.
I have kids. They're gonna have to, you know, uh, become their own person, know what they believe in their hearts. So just that process of truth, you have to have courage to follow truth. So whenever I saw a red flag, I'm like, okay, I need to study this up. If I'm gonna dedicate my life to this, I better know what I believe. But that one, the study came more out of I spent so much time, my whole life, church and having like a God mindset that I was like, I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna study how people saw like different Sumerian culture, Babylon, you name it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I went in there, but as I was going through it, I had a mission, and the reading and all the studies took me elsewhere, which is kind of funny to think, but the thing came back to that what I just gave you there. Like we live in our false realities, and that's all right.
Yeah.
Just fall in love with how you live your life,
Yeah.
and it's that simple.
Yeah.
And let people fall in love with their reality, you know.
Mm,
And if you can be something to add value to their life in some way, you know, listening to them, like let's say, just being genuine about it, you know, like going in, and if you are in that place where you have gratitude, love, kindness, you can transfer that to somebody else, and that person can transfer to somebody else,
yeah,
but you're still fulfilled because you're living that life you created.
I love that, man. Yeah, that's powerful. That's so cool. I want to change gears with you a little bit here, and then want to go into the transitioning from like selling to leading.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking out there before we jumped on the show, and we were talking about how you're still leading from the front, which I
Yeah.
admire, and not a lot of guys do that. But what's the balance for you now, because you're in that phase where you've got a couple markets, you're expanding to different market, one or two different markets, Cali and Illinois potentially, sounds
Mm-hmm.
like. And how are you managing your time with your personal sales, and then with leading, and then recruiting and growing? Like, what's your plan there?
Plan uh, is just to fall in love even more with imbalance, because to go from this point to the next point is sort of unknown. You know, it's like one that I've tried before to manage more from home, and then learning some lessons there, failing, you know, literally failing to the point where I felt like I gave no value to one of my teams, and that
Mm,
crushed. You know, I even forfeit my override.
mm.
I said, hey, I don't want to get paid. You
Wow,
guys take everything.
that's powerful, bro. That's
Yeah,
extreme ownership.
but it's a true. It's what I believe. You know,
Yeah,
so it wasn't hard. It was just like, hey, I believe this. I believe this mindset.
yeah,
I'm not gonna take any money here.
that's
So
cool.
yeah, but it's just, I mean, didn't hurt. Wasn't hard. It was just more of one of those things. But that the lesson that I learned was just like, hey, if you wanna be this guy, you need to change these things, and you're not there yet. You know, you need to do X steps. The funny part is those guys now, when I left the company that I was with, they came with me. So it was I wasn't planning on it. It was just natural. It was just more like um, they gave me grace. You know, they were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I worked with this guy before. That was the experience. They saw me. You see your true colors when you're going through the muddy waters. They saw, you know, how it was like a genuine. Hey, let's. If you want to work together, I want to do things differently.
Yeah.
You know how I work. I know how you guys work. Let's figure this out now. So now I
Mm.
feel like in the spot that we're in, I'm able to. I don't. It's hard to explain, but the respect is there.
Yeah. Well, you're real. You're authentic. Like, you're not trying to play some game of like you've got everything perfectly, fit together. And dude, I've noticed this is a little bit different but similar theme with leading in my people, where I haven't ran from. I used to like not talk about my weaknesses, and like just make it seem like I had everything perfectly put together, which is ironic that the time I did, I didn't. And now when I open up about my shit, like my life is much better than it was back then.
Yeah.
But I don't think I know people do respect vulnerability in, leaders coming in saying, hey, like, number one, not advising people to do anything that they don't do themselves. But then number two, so there's no hypocrisy. But number two is actually being real and being vulnerable. Like when you are messing up or you're failing at something, creating that space where like, hey, you can call me out. It's not just about me being a dictator and telling you what to do and when you're right, when you're wrong. Like for me, I expect my people to call out my shit if I'm messing up on something, or if I'm making a mistake, or if I'm not living a certain way. Hold me to a standard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can focus on creating that community where, hey, we're trying to level up, like this is like a mastermind group. We're trying to become better salespeople, learn how to add more value, become more knowledgeable, healthier, fitter. Like that's how you create community. And the secret to building, I think, business and teams is creating that community. And that so much of that requires the man at the head to not just like say I've got everything dialed. Like,
Yep. And the way, I mean, from that experience of failing, you know, was humbling. It's people that I care about as well. Like I was like, man, I feel bad, you know. Anyways, it was more of a. It's hard to put into words. Give me a sec.
very good.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't even put into words. But there's people that micromanage people. Let's say they do like those weekly calls
Yeah.
or try to pretend like, "Hey, bud, how are you?" To your
Uh-huh.
face. I despise that to the maximum
It's cringe.
amount of my soul. Like
Yeah.
we're talking, I will never do that.
Yeah.
So the path that I chose to take as a leader, it was more like I am willing to lose whatever dollar amount. I don't care what it is, but I refuse to be fake.
Yeah. I love
So
that.
to me, it was just more of a seeing the payoff was kind of like the crumbs, like just following that crumb, just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna take this path. I don't care if it hurts me in this manner, but I'll not change who I am."
Mm.
And also, like for my guys, like being consistent, like with yourself, how you handle yourself, how you do things. It's easy for people to follow
Yeah.
because they know, hey, there's consistency here. What you said kind of emphasized the being vulnerable, being like, oh, he's not perfect. So
Yeah.
when something imperfect happens, it's like, oh, we already knew. Like he's not perfect, but he's here showing up, trying his best. If we call him, he's the guy that wants all the smoke, and that is me.
Mm.
I want all the smoke.
Mm.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to how critical it is for that person, the leader, to hold space for themselves so they can handle the fires.
Yeah.
Dude, I think a lot of things that people don't understand the importance of, especially growing into leadership from sales, is the importance of attracting the right people and detracting the wrong. Like we just hire so many people, just hire anybody. Like, oh, you got a pulse? Cool, you're hired, you know? But you have to, like, the pinnacle leadership is certainty. And certainty means that you know how you live your life. You know what you say yes to, and you know what you say no to. And if it doesn't fit, I'm good. I don't need to. That's part of attract, don't chase. And if you don't fit this, that's okay. Like I tell people, hey, look, our guys make a lot of money, but the con is we're going to push you with your fitness. And like, no joke, this morning we had like, we're pushing people like to show up, and there we're like yelling in their face, pushing their fitness. We're teaching them about meal prep, blood work, hormones. We're teaching them about everything.
That's
And,
amazing.
and we create that culture where we push them, you know? But if people are not okay, like they're just like, dude, I'm a really good closer. I'm going to sling. And that's all I want. I don't want to do your, self-development stuff. Cool. Bye.
Yep.
It's okay. I don't need you, bro. I don't care how talented you are. And the more that I say no to people like that, the more people that say yes to me. It's crazy when you just protect that or know who you are. Because if we start catering and adapting to everybody, you start losing that conviction of how you live in that unique edge that you have. And so,
And like Mike Tyson, friend to everybody is an enemy to himself.
yes, exactly. And if you can just be true to yourself, dude, and know what you're looking for, and just know your time will come, and it's requiring you to say no to most things and most people. And I've said no to so many closers. Hey, dude, let me just come in and close a deal. No, I don't need it. It's all good. And I've offended a lot of people, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And entitlement, we talk about how it's a plague in our industry.
Yeah,
And
it
we have
is.
we still have entitlement issues with some of our guys, but it's really not near what it is in other companies. And we have very little entitlement, and very humble, very, like, go hungry people. And it's because of that culture and our willingness to say no to certain people, you know. And I even, take pride when somebody DMs me and says like, oh, hey, I want to come work for you guys, and what's your red line? I'm like, have a good day, bro. Wrong type.
Yep.
Because I know the right guy say, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I see how you important your people. I want to talk. Cool, come in. Like when
Yes.
they come in commoditizing, say, what's your red line? I'm like, bro, you've already come on the wrong note.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Horrible.
mean? They don't see the value. And so when people don't see your value, I'm not pursuing that. And
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing against you, but I know my value and I'm going to protect that. Because when you go down that rabbit hole of chasing and try to lure people in, dude, I feel like your value, like your authority to attract it diminishes because you're
Always.
pouring into people that aren't receiving.
Yes.
And
And they're always taking.
and they're
Just
always
take,
they're
take, take.
takers, and that's the thing is that taker mentality, right?
And then they try to spread it to the. I call it the broke bitches hurdle together club. Always.
Yeah.
They stick like shit to each other. So to me, whenever I find a broke bitch like
Uh-huh.
that,
Yeah.
immediate get out of here
Yeah.
because I don't want it to affect and stink the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how many deals you close.
Yeah. Don't care.
It's just their cancer. It's
Yeah.
cancer, dude. So if you're listening, guys, like, say no more, say no to more to other opportunities and say yes to yourself and growing and protecting what you're doing, what you're about, and the value you bring.
And be patient. Like, what makes you think that something great happens overnight?
Exactly.
It's gonna take
It
time.
will take time. Yeah. Because you start chasing it too fast. We were trying to recruit, and dude, we stopped and we just plugged the holes and improved what we had with our people, our training, our culture, and then me as a leader changing myself, and then the business started to blow up, right? And so it will come. You just have to understand that, like you said, anything great does take time. And so if it's coming too fast, that's almost a red flag. So, um, so they always say slow to hire, fast, or slow to hire, fast to fire.
Mm.
Um, and I feel like people are too fast to just pull people on. So we created even an agreement of like an expectations with our core values of what we're looking for,
Yeah.
right? And so
And it goes back to law of attraction, right? The people that are going for money, they're the ones signing up these divas, these guys that are asking for a red
exactly,
line.
yeah,
The patient guys is worried about, hey, how can I make this rep's life that just got out of high school better? How can
exactly,
I make him work out more? How can I make him care about not swiping right on Tinder and actually
exactly,
finding somebody to build a family with?
yeah,
So it's more a wholesome, it's more of a true, something that truly helps them in life versus something that's superficial.
yep,
So what you're saying with systems and having these things in place, eventually, um, I compare it to ounces, and I compare it, let's say, 10 ounces in a cup. It's gonna take 9 ounces of effort to get 1 ounce of result, and I'm willing to put the 9 ounces and just keep pouring 9 ounces all day long. Eventually, that culture, that momentum, that mentality, that system, it carries you so far that you only need 1 ounce of effort.
to get nine,
Yeah, so it's
yeah,
just eventually changes, but you have to believe, you have to stay strong.
yeah,
Sometimes you go through a huge, blow, and instead of looking, oh, maybe I'm going the wrong path,
yeah.
is seeing for what it is, accepting for what it is, and making adjustments, but keeping true to your principles.
Mm-hmm. Did you mention patterns and you just mentioned principles? Those are two things that I make decisions off of.
Mm-hmm.
And, people bring ideas or opportunities to my attention and I know to say no very fast or say yes, depending on, because I've made decisions based on principles. And so if it doesn't align, then it's a quick no. And I feel like a lot of people don't have those principles and they don't understand patterns of success and failure. And so it's hard for them to um, identify when to say yes, when to say no. And they become just overloaded, overwhelmed. And so we have something called the Sparta Success Agreement, where it's a 6-page document outlining exactly why people have come into Sparta and failed, right? And then why people have come in and succeeded. And we've outlined everything for KPIs, the systems, training, mindset, work ethic, work-life balance. Like we've hit on everything and then shortened it into 6 pages, right? And so that process of identifying who is a fit and who's not a fit, I've constantly used this to influence and sell people. And it's one thing to just sell, like, but it also creates a better experience post sale. Whether you're convincing somebody to buy from you and setting right expectations, or you're persuading someone to work with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're creating the right expectations for what it's going to be like. And so we've created that blueprint of like, this is what a day to day looks like. And if you're not willing to do that, that's okay. Because guess what most recruiters and most salespeople do in a meeting? They tell you why you should. What I do that's different is I tell you why you shouldn't. And when you tell people this, you could look at it psychologically, say, Nick, you're just playing reverse psychology. Say, that's partly true, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I know what I'm worth. I know my value. I know what our company's doing. And I'm okay if somebody doesn't want to come here. I'm at a point where we're thriving and anything that comes is excess. And that's the best place to be at. And you can be that broke, no team, no nothing. And it stems from gratitude.
Yeah.
And when you genuinely, it goes back to that desire of like, I just want to help you, right? When you have that desire and you can detach from persuading them to come work at your team, your company, or buy your product or service, your influence is amplified because you can really connect with that person and help them get what they want.
Yeah. And in my learning days, of trying to make $1 million, it was my team was, when I was making 700 ish, it was 14, 20 people. It wasn't that many people.
Yeah.
The year that I made 1 million, I had maybe 12 reps,
Look
eight
at that.
reps.
Look at
So it
that.
wasn't even,
It's not more bodies.
it wasn't more bodies. It was more like I was with people that genuinely we wanted each other to win.
Yeah.
We had trust. It didn't have to be like a bought trust or political trust. It was a genuine trust. We all had the best intentions for each other, and now it's just flourished to attracting more people like it. But at the time, you don't see these things.
Mm.
It's just you against the world with your guys. You
Yeah.
and the Spartans against 3,000. But it was, I mean, just going through that process and seeing the light. Like the little crumbs when I felt defeated or whatever. Lonely is very lonely a lot of times.
Mm.
But you embrace the loneliness, you see as a positive thing.
Yeah.
But
Because it molds you. Like,
yes.
dude, I remember going through all that crap I was telling you about, that 1 week of just hell.
That was the week of hell.
That was the week of hell. But that's what created the foundation for where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And so like that, and one of the emotions I felt then was loneliness. It was loneliness, anger, fear, uncertainty. And but people can run from, or they can just let it sit with it. And sometimes the best way to get through something is to go through it, not around it. But so many people go around by distracting themselves or overworking. And sometimes the best development somebody needs is not a new book or not a new sales training or recruiting. It's just you need to change something about you, and some character flaw. And the way I look at it, like I don't look back retrospectively like, oh, like I'm so ashamed I had a pornography problem. It's like, dude, what a beautiful thing. I had something, a struggle. And I wish I'd go back and look if I can just mend this. It's like I've got this huge backpack. I'm trying to hike Mount Everest with a 250-pound bag. It's like, bro, let's just pause for a second. Like I'm ambitious. I'm hiking with this 250-pound bag. I'm killing myself. Let's just take some of this baggage out. Let's lighten the load. Let's slow down to speed up, you know?
And I mean, going back, I guess, to religious texts when I forgot which guy was going through like a heavy trial. It was like God wasn't in the wind, wasn't in the noise. He
Yeah.
was in the silence. So
Yeah.
whenever I face the loneliness, is the time I spend with God
Yeah.
in my eyes. So it's just like more of a, I don't know, just gives you more meaning to go through your struggles,
Yeah.
and just just let it be. Like you
Yeah.
said, like, hey, you just, there's a beauty in surrendering in a way.
Yes, I love that word.
Yeah, it's like a powerful, in the book I'm writing, that's one of the shards of divinity,
Mm,
which is some things in life cannot be explained until it's felt,
mm,
and surrendering is one of them. So let's say your week of hell, if you experience that level of surrendering to, like, man, you know, good looking guy, you're fit, like have your company, is it's awesome, right? But then let's say somebody's looking at you from the outside perspective, they didn't know you had that one week of hell, right?
exactly.
But that one time that you had in silence, that you got down to that level of feeling and emotion, something that cannot be put into words,
Yeah.
that to me is worth more than anything. Like
100%.
that experience.
It's priceless.
Yep.
But I see a lot of people go through these adversities and struggles and go into kind of a pity party and just like they feel stuck. But the great people can always see it as the origin. It's not the beginning. It's not the permanent state. It's the beginning of where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in that hellhole, and it wasn't just a week of just suffering. It was like I had 6 months that followed that were very difficult, but I also found peace and joy in that. That was the number one thing I was craving in that hurt was peace. I remember just writing about in my journal, I just want peace. I just want peace. Like that's all I wanted, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't want more money. I just wanted peace. And but in that process of healing, like you discover how the adversity is building you and molding you. And going back, I've been divorced. I've gone through so much, and I wouldn't change a thing because, I'm 31 years old, and I feel like I'm a 40-year-old, you know, man in a 31-year-old suit because of the adversity, because of the trials, and I've grown stronger and I'm smarter, more adept, more fit to lead. I'm far from perfect, but what I imagine is I was telling you like that my company being at this big point, everyone leaving, but I can be completely at peace,
Yep.
and no matter the growth, the failure, I'm not attached to it. And knowing the man, if I focus on who I become and my growth along the way, even if the people left, I'll be able to attract that 10 times faster and probably 100 times bigger.
Yep.
If the who we become is the focus. And it's going back to that principle of like if you compete against who you were yesterday, you can't lose.
And same with I like the word peace, because that's another shard of divinity right there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I was kidnapped, the peace factor for me
Yeah.
was so massive that the way that I see it, I'm like, no one else besides me can rattle my emotions or how I feel or how I do X, Y, and Z.
Huh.
Peace is the most important.
Yeah.
So that factor of peace is a big deal, especially for us that deal with so much like headache, and whether it be customer, rep, family, you name it, there's a ton. But if you're able to still keep that peace, uh, and after experiencing like huge adversity, that's the only way that you understand peace.
Yeah.
You don't understand peace by just being peaceful all the time.
Right.
You understand it when it's such a high value item to you that nothing, like you said, people can leave, whatever happens, because you have been through the storm.
Mm.
You crave that peace, and
Yeah.
peace is the number one.
I feel like the greater the suffering, the more darkness we have in our life, the more you appreciate the light and just the simplicity of life,
Yep.
And it creates that gratitude that puts you in that abundant state, just allows you to attract more.
Always.
Yeah, bro, this has been amazing. If you had to give advice to these people that are listening, salespeople, entrepreneurs, what'd be your just like one little nugget of advice you give them?
Show up.
It's a great one. Yeah.
Like no matter what, show up.
Mm. Why is that important to you?
Because it's simple.
Yeah.
It's like
It's half the
you're
game to
afraid,
success, though.
show up.
Yeah.
You want to quit, show up.
Yeah.
Just show up, and then it's not as scary as you think it might be. And there's always a lesson. There's always a blessing. There's always something. Showing up is a superpower.
It is. It goes back to what we were saying, like be the person that doesn't miss. It means showing up. It means like despite what's going on, like you're still there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can become the person that doesn't miss, that shows up. Like everything will come. It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
Love that, bro. Thiago, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. This is awesome. Guys, where can they find you on social media?
T Varela. TVARELLA.
Okay. Love it, bro. Love it. Guys, thanks for watching. If this has been any value to you, please like, subscribe, share this podcast with somebody, share it to your story, leave a review. We need to grow this. We need to get the message out. We're trying to help push the community with salespeople to level up as entrepreneurs, to level up as leaders, and realize there's more to be made. And the more you focus on helping people get what they want and your self-growth, the more you're going to get what you want. And so many people don't understand this, and they're lost chasing dollars, chasing the wrong things. And so if this message aligned with you, helped you in any way, please comment, leave a review, because it helps this message and reach more people. So thank you guys again. Thiago, thank you, bro.
Hey, thank you.